Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is fine. So let's start with today's class. Let rest people can join. So guys, on that day we were discussing about persistence profile. So I will continue with that. So persistence we discussed, there are two types of persistence which are most commonly used. One is source address based persistence and one is cookie. So we discussed about the lab, what is the need of persistence. So if anyone asks you, what is the persistence? So persistence means to direct your client request to the same server during lifetime of a session, so that there is no transaction which gets failed. So example is to make HTTP stateful. Simple meaning is to make HTTP stateful. So previously HTTP stateful, I need to make it stateful. That's why we introduced persistence. So when we talked about source address based persistence, guys, in that what we did was, so there were traffic which was coming from different source IP. Let's say first IP, second IP, third IP. So first traffic was coming and going to this server throughout lifetime of a session. So we have seen that we took two client IP and this traffic was going to this server only. Subsequent requests are also going to the same. If there is IP address which gets changed, then it will go to the another server. So we have seen this on the source address persistence. Now, if I come into cookie based persistence, so you will see the difference in cookie based, what it will love. It will not see in cookie, what will happen? Cookie is just a text file which is stored in your browser. So how it will stored in browser, you need to understand how it will stored in browser. So whenever you close the browser, then it will go to the new server. If you don't delete the cookies, then it will go to the same server. Let's say this client, then this is F5 and this is server. So initially when client will initiate a traffic, it will initiate a get packet. So first of all, for cookie persistence, you always require HTTP profile. That is the first mandatory thing. If your virtual server does not have HTTP profile, it will not work. Because HTTP profile works on layer 7. It needs to inspect, right? It needs to inspect what is coming in request traffic and what is going in response traffic. We discussed many times this request and response. So first method in cookie is insert. If someone asks you what are the cookie insert persistence method, first method is cookie insert. So in this, what will happen is your client traffic will come to F5. F5 will send the traffic to the server. Now in the response traffic, when it comes to F5, guys, F5 will create one cookie. So this is the cookie it will create. And it will insert in HTTP response from the server. So it will create the information on which server this client has connected. So next time, if same client comes in, it will check this. F5 will check this request. Oh, it is the same client. It has written big IP server 1. Then it will send to the same server, guys. So that is called cookie persistence based on insert mode. So when I talk about cookie persistence guide, cookie persistence has 3 modes. First mode is insert. Second mode is rewrite. By default, most customer does not know what is insert, read, write, passive. So you need to understand the requirement. Mostly cookie insert is used in production. So generally what I am teaching based on production issues. what are the things. But first of all, guys, you need to understand what is difference between source address versus cookie. So if you understand this, then you will understand persistence. So source address was working on based on IP layer, IP address. Cookie based persistence works on cookie, which is stored in browser. Simple meaning, guys. And cookie works on layer 7. That is the another prerequisite. So cookie persistence method required F5 to read the HTTP data, right? If I want to read HTTP data, what I need? I need an HTTP profile. Simple, guys. Let's simplify everything. So why cookie persistence required HTTP profile? Because F5 needs to read the client data. What client is sending? What server is sending? I want to read this data, guys. So basically, I'm talking about request and response header. Simple meaning, guys. So we talked, right? Request and response header, how you can check. So you will go to, again, I'm showing the last time, which I'm showing is how you can go. So I will delete this. I will go to Ignoto mode. You open Sianets.com. Then you go to more tools, developer tool. Now go to network tab. Okay, just minimize this. Now I will refresh the page. So this is where HTTP request, this is a tool to detect what are the headers which are coming in. So now I will open this website, guys, sianets.com. I will just double click. Now, if you come across this, guys, you can see what is the requested URL. This is where F5 needs an access. F5 wants to read what is coming in request header and what is coming in response header from server. So this is what it can see. If it will talk about cookie, then I will show you where the cookie is. So can you see this? This is our request header. It contains your host name, what is the user agent, and cookie will be coming. So we will show you where the cookie headers come in. So, but you need to understand why HTTP profile is needed. Now let's come into insert method. First method. So first get request will come, then it will send to the server based on load balancing algo. Simple. Because F5 does not have a data, right? Whether this is a new request or it is an old request. Then server will send a response. Then it will go to F5. F5 will create a cookie like this, and it will be inserted on your browser, client browser. So next time if same client comes in, F5 will check this. From this, it will come to know what is the server where this client is connected. Then it will send to the same server throughout the life of a session, or you can say until you close the browser, guys. Simple, guys. This is called insert mode. So let's do a lab for this. Lab for cookie insert. So that you can understand, or you can say cookie persistence. So initially when we were doing source address persistence, what was happening? I was generating request from one Windows XP machine and one my machine. Even I closed the browser, nothing was happening. Okay, it was going to the same server based on source IP. Now I will take two machine. I have my XP outside machine. I will close the browser. Okay. Now I will have one my machine, which is my machine, if config. This is my 192.168.1.9. Okay, first of all, let's go to F5. So I will go and log in into GUI. 192. You can do the lab with me, guys. That will help you also to grow. I will log in. So first of all, where is the cookie persistence profile you want to see? You need to go to profiles, persistence, and this is cookie profile. So you go to profile section, then persistence, and click on cookie. So see, by default, what is the default method? Default method is cookie insert. And what does this expiration mean? Session cookie. Until you close the session or until your browser is closed, it will keep going to the same server. So that is called expiration date. So either you can use this session cookie or you can use the time also. Deselect this. You can say after how much time my cookie should get expired. But mostly it depends on session cookie. What does it mean? If I close the browser, then it will go to the another server. So I will go to my virtual server. This is my virtual server 192.168.1.80. Let me see if I'm able to access it. Okay, let me see if my all servers are up. My red server, green server. Now I will go to this first prerequisite to do a lab for cookie is, guys, you need to have a virtual server with HTTP profile or a layer 7 profile, which I told you, right? Now I will go into my virtual server. I will check whether HTTP profile is not. If not, then you can select HTTP. Okay, guys. Now I will go to resources. Now from here, previously we were looking over source address. Now I will select cookie here and update. Now I will go to stats and clear the stats of my virtual server. And I will go to my pools and clear the stats. It will not impact your traffic. You can do in your production also. Now guys, I will initiate a traffic from my Windows XP machine. This is my Windows XP outside machine. I will open Wireshark also to show you what is the cookie. And I will go to my browser. I will access my request from Mozilla and Google Chrome. You will see what is the difference. I will say start. Now I will say 192.168.1.80. I will refresh it. Okay. Now I will refresh it. It is going to the same server. Now I will stop the capture. Now, what is my source IP? I will go to run and check my source IP. Ipconfig 192.168.1.10. So I will search by 1.10. IP.address, it's simple Wireshark. So I will look over the HTTP traffic. So this is my HTTP traffic. I will open this. I will go to HTTP packet. Here, can you see this? This is your request header. Now you can see. Now if I take, what I will do is I will close this. Now I will refresh my browser and I will take captures again. I will refresh. Now I want to see, this is my request traffic. I will just enter HTTP. Now I will open, this was the request traffic and this is the response traffic. Now let me open what will happen. Let's see. So this is the response traffic. I cannot see cookie value here as of now. Okay. So this is an HTTP traffic. Now I will go again into this packet and let's see what will happen. I want to see where the cookie is stored. I will just delete. I will open again this packet. So cookie should be inserted, but right now I can see this, but I cannot see cookie inserted packet. So I need to search for that. I will refresh again. Get packet. Now let me open this. Can you see this, guys? Now cookie is stored in a browser. So this is the request traffic which I was showing you. So can you see this? It is showing which server it is going, pool of RGB server. So this is what I wanted to show you, how F5 will see whether request, this client is connecting. Let's say we have a client F5 and a server. I wanted to see when next request comes from same client, F5 will check this header, request header. And if it contains the cookie, it will send to the same server. This is what I wanted to show you. You can see the pool of RGB server. And now guys, even my IP address is same. Now what I will do is I will close the browser. Okay, I will close the Wireshark captures also. And I will stop this. I will close the browser. Now, if I close the browser, it should not go to the green server. Let's see. I will again initiate Wireshark. Start. Now I will access the page. Even you can clear the cookies here also. Go to history. You can clear it from your settings also. Clear private data. I will clear my all private data. Now I will access the page. Let's see where it is going. Can you see? Even my IP address is same, but it is going to another server. Why? Because now cookie has been deleted. So previous record was that previously this client was going to green server, but now it will go to the red server. But in source address persistence, it looks over IP address. Here it looks over browser cookie. So cookies you can see different. So cookies you can either see from Wireshark. So I will initiate the traffic. I will refresh I will just look over HTTP. Now I will refresh. Now I will go into this HTTP. So this is how you will look. So whenever you close the browser, guys, it will go to the another server. Now, guys, this is my one browser from same machine. I will open Google Chrome now. Let's see what happens in that. I will go to Google Chrome now. 192.168.1.80. Let's see what will happen. It was a cookie data, red server. Now if I close it, it can go to any server. 192.168.1.80, red server. So it is going to different server now. If I close, if I delete more tools, or I will go to history, I will clear the browsing data. So cookies I will clear. Now I will refresh the page. So it is going to different servers. Whenever I'm opening, closing, it is going to the new server. See, now it goes to red server. Even you can see from this, go to this, there will be one cookie stored. Go open it, cookies. Can you see this? From here also, you can see how the cookie is stored. So cookie is just a normal text file which is stored in your browser. And who will give it? So you have a client, you have F5, you have server. So initially client will send to F5, F5 will send to any server. Now server will send a response and F5 will create one cookie and insert on browser. So this is how it is stored. This is what you can see. So that is how cookie persistence works. Now if I go to history, clear my browsing data and close this. If I again access, it will change the server. See guys, now if I go here, your data will get changed. So content is getting changed. You cannot track here because F5 generally has a mechanism to track it, that whether it's going to red, you can take a Wireshark capture and check it. On F5, if you want to see which server it's going, you can take a capture. Anyways, I will tell you Wireshark capture later on. Even if I refresh until I close browser, guys, it will go to the same server. Now, if I access it, I will refresh it, it will change it because sometimes on browser it can store. So that is why sometimes customer says I'm using cookie persistence, but still it's going to same server. Then you can ask them to clear the cookie and check it again. Okay, guys, this is how the lab is successful. We did not do anything. We just went to profile, virtual server. First, we took what is the whether HTTP profile is there or not. Then we went to resources and just select cookie persistence. Now, guys, next topic is there is another method, cookie rewrite. So what will happen in this case, guys? I will go with this diagram. So in cookie rewrite, what will happen, guys? Your client will initiate first request. First request does not have any cookie. First request will go to load balancing based on round robin. It will choose one server, whether it's red, green, or blue. Now, guys, what will happen is server will send one blank cookie in this. So that is, you don't need to worry. You need to ask if you want to use cookie rewrite, then you need to ask your server team to configure that way that it should insert blank cookie when it's sending response to F5. So that is called rewrite. So in rewrite, what will happen is a blank cookie will be sent from a server and F5 will rewrite to its own cookie. Previously, what was happening in insert? Nothing was coming here. F5 was inserting a cookie and stored in browser. But in rewrite, basically a blank cookie will be set on your server. So that is why cookie insert is easier to implement, because it does not require server team or application team involvement. So if I want to use cookie rewrite, in that case, you need to configure your server in this way so that they can send a blank cookie or a formatted cookie. So that is why cookie insert is an advantage, because it does not require any changes on server side. What will happen? Nothing. Your client request server, then server is sending response. Here no cookie is sending by server. F5 when sending response to client, it's inserting cookie. That is very, very important. So it will insert how the cookie will be inspected. This is cookie insert. Now, if I talk about, guys, cookie rewrite means your TCP handshake, that is a initial handshake. Then HTTP request with no cookie. This is the first request. Now there will be HTTP reply. When server will send an HTTP reply, it will send a blank cookie. So blank cookie, you need to ask your server team to configure it. Now after that, see, when F5 is sending reply to client, it will rewrite cookie. So that's one very, very important, because you need to track how it works. So that is how it works. So there will be a first request, HTTP request, then it will send to server will send response, but it has a blank cookie with it. Okay, so that is called blank cookie. Now when F5 receive a response, F5 will rewrite this cookie, spool member port and this cookie. So that is how it's the format. You don't need to remember this, just need to understand what is the difference between cookie insert, cookie rewrite, and cookie passive. Okay, guys. Now, next, the last topic is cookie passive. Guys, this is very, very important interview question also, which will be asked. What are three types of cookie persistence? So you need to answer insert, rewrite, and passive. So the configuration is same. So when you want to use rewrite, guys, let's say you want to use rewrite, you will go to profile, click persistence. You need to create custom cookie. You will say persistence type cookie. Then you need to change here the type. Select on this custom, then cookie passive. So that is how you can use another cookie persistence. Once you finish, so it requires a cookie name. Can you see? It's giving you cookie name. So that cookie name will be given by your server team, guys. So let's first discuss about cookie passive. In cookie passive, guys, first request, you all know, nothing is inserted. Your client will send the traffic to F5. Now, can you see this? When server is sending a response to F5, server is inserting some special cookie. So in this case, server is sending some special cookie in a formatted way. that you don't need to worry. You just need to ask them what should be a cookie name. Then F5 will just send the traffic. It will not insert or rewrite. Whatever he has received from server, it will send the same response to the client. So again, a HTTP request come, it will go to the same server based on that cookie. So that is how passive mode works. Passive mode means whatever is coming from server to F5, F5 will send the same cookie to client. But in insert, what was happening? F5 was inserting something, but server it was not sending anything. But in rewrite, server was sending a blank cookie, and then F5 was rewriting it. But in passive, try to understand. Server is sending a special cookie, F5 will receive it, and then F5 will send the same special cookie to client. So that is why when you configure cookie passive, guys, when I go here, it is asking for cookie name, guys. So that is very, very important, guys. So in passive mode, big IP will not insert or search for any set cookie header, which I was showing you. It will, whatever it will receive, it will go to another server. That is important, guys. When I convert cookie insert, in this, you want whatever cookie you want, you can configure it, but it is not necessary. So I will show you. When I go to persistence, cookie. So even if I did not do it, I select update, it did not give me error, but I click cookie passive, because cookie passive and cookie read write requires cookie name, because that will be come from server team. So that is the difference between cookie insert, cookie rewrite, and cookie passive. So since lab cannot be done on this, so on cookie passive, because we don't have a server team and we don't know how the server is configured as a cookie, but you need to understand how it is. Then you will go to virtual servers, resources, and just change it here. So that is the difference between source address persistence versus cookie persistence. That is how the traffic flows. Now, guys, if someone asks you, like, there are 2 or 3 types of cookies more. So first one, you have clear cookie address, source address, cookie persistence. We discussed 3 methods: cookie insert, cookie rewrite, and cookie passive. But sometimes they can ask you question that is there any way there, if you see on persistence profile, mostly we don't have much thing on that, but I will show you profiles persistence. So if you go here, there is one destination address persistence also. So source address and destination address persistence means there will be cookie based on destination IP. So that is called destination address persistence. If you want, see, most probably you will see most of the time source address and cookie persistence, but there are 3 more persistence which are being used, which I have never seen, but you need to understand. First one is destination address persistence. It is the opposite of source address. That is a simple persistence where it will look over the traffic based on destination IP. So how you will click? Just click here, prefix length if you want, same settings, whatever we have configured on source address, The same settings you need to configure in destination address persistence. Nothing different, but it's basically directs your request. Let's say I have a client, I have F5, I have 3 servers. So destination address basically direct your request from certain destination IP. Let's say you have a destination IP 10.2.2.30. So destination address will direct your request, whether it's this client, or this client. It will not look over this, whether it, regardless of whichever client made the request, it will request for a certain, when it comes from this, it will go to the same server. It looks over destination IP field rather than source address field. So that is called destination address. It looks over destination IP, whichever client is hitting request, it does not matter. So it will direct request for a certain destination IP address to the same server. Okay, guys, and it supports both TCP and UDP. So it will direct your session request to the same server based on destination IP. But source address while requesting request to the same server based on source IP of the packet. So let's say I have a firewall, let's say I have a F5, and then I have a 2 ISP, ISP1, ISP2. So that is called destination. I want to this traffic coming from F5. I want always it should go to AT&T. So that is based on destination address. So it will go to the same router in a pool. So you want that all the connection should go to AT&T server, which are on this ISP. And if it is down, then it should go to this server. So that is called destination IP, where you want to forward the traffic based on this IP, destination IP, ISP. So it will use server address rather than client address. In source address based, what was using? It was using client address persistence, source IP. In this, it will use destination IP. So in this, all users will be directed to same pool member based on destination IP. If someone asks you what is the use case, you can say when you want to do load balancing based on ISP on F5. In that case, destination address persistence comes into picture. Even there are some cases where caching servers are used. In that also, generally it can use. But best example you can say is it will direct the traffic based on IP address of your server. So that is called destination IP based persistence. Now there is one more persistence which you will come to know, which is called SSL persistence. So I hope everyone knows what is SSL. So SSL uses what thing, guys? SSL uses session ID. So it does not track source IP, destination IP. What it will use? How F5 will track the connection of SSL using SSL session ID. So SSL is nothing but it is a secure socket layer. So I will discuss about SSL in detail next topic. That is very important. How certificates, how key is. But what is SSL persistence? Now, if I go to persistence, there is one SSL persistence. What is it? So SSL persistence are nothing, but it will track based on session IDs. Even if your client IP gets changed, it does not track that. it will check your session ID. So whenever SSL, if you take packet capture, they will have session ID number. So it will persist. Let's say we have client, then F5. So SSL persistence only can be used with HTTPS traffic because it is secure. So it will track the session. Let's say this client hits an F5 on HTTPS. Then there will be one session ID which will be tagged. So even this IP gets changed, your session ID will be same, then it will send to the same server. So where authentication, encryption and decryption, whenever SSL offloading is used, if you use this SSL persistence, that will be advantage. So persistence record is created based on session ID. That is called SSL persistence. See, in my scenario from last 10 years, I have been working, I have seen cookie persistence and source address persistence. SSL also I have never seen. But since it's a part, you should know. What so people in interview will ask you, what is the difference between source address, cookie based, SSL? So you should know what is SSL persistence. So guys, why it will helpful, guys? Can someone tell me? Let's say I have a client, I have an F5, I have 3 servers, server 1, server 2, server 3. If I'm using SSL persistence, guys, and proxy is also coming into picture. Let's say we were talking about source address persistence cannot be used if proxy is coming into picture. So that is why how you will come to know that whether this client, because all client, if proxy is coming into picture, all clients will, F5 will treat this as a same IP address. Are you getting me? For F5, IP would be same because it is coming from proxy. So in this case, what will happen is it will not track anything, like it will not come to know which client is hitting traffic. So now I will track. I want to track even your client is getting IP address change. I always, there is a net coming into picture, your IPs are getting changed, whether it's a dynamic IP. So even when client IP will change, it will still recognize what is the session ID. There will be one session ID with this, one session ID with this, one session ID with this. So even if your client IPs are dynamic or your client has translating IP, it's getting netted. In that case, you can use SSL persistence to track whether this client is going to which server at a moment. That is the use case, guys. So see, every term has a use case, right? You need to understand that thing is important. Now, guys, what will happen for everything, whether SSL, source address, cookie, you will go to this resources. Let's say I want to use SSL. Now update. Virtual server, Sianets. So in that case, it will track based on SSL, but I don't have profiles, right? So it needs client SSL profile. So how it will track the session ID? So you need an HTTPS profile. In F5, it is called SSL profile, which now I will come. It's an important topic, whether it's an interview or in production. So we will come into this topic next in profile section.